So welcome again, everyone, and thanks for coming. I know it's been a long day, so we appreciate you guys sticking all the way to the end here. Again, my name is Ayodeji. I'm part of the Bachelor's of Business in Entrepreneurship, with that as the focus. So just a bit of a rundown of the program and what to expect, which I guess we'll follow up on this with Q&A after to clarify things even more. So, just starting off with an example of one of our alumni, a previous student, so we know that this is real. It's not, just theoretical. We actually do produce entrepreneurs here. So, the term entrepreneurship has become quite pop and sexy, so to speak, but that's for good reason, and I'll clarify. But just so we know, being entrepreneurial doesn't always fall just under the title of entrepreneur, right? So the same skill sets is what you use for consulting, in running a business, all the way down to even being a sales manager. It really does entail having an entrepreneurial mindset, right, to do these things really well. So the message here is actually that you can still be an entrepreneur, especially in today's business world, within organizations. Right, it may or may not entail you launching your own venture, so to speak. So our institution, like the video said at the end there, big enough to connect you, right, but also small enough to connect with you. Right, we really pride ourselves in that. And so just following that, the way that our program is set up with flexibility. We want you to be industry engaged. We want you to be a dynamic whole person. And so we actually structure our program around what works for you. How do we make this really work for you, right, as a person? So that's where the flexibility comes in terms of when or in what format you take your subjects. Yeah, welcome. And also what subjects you take. That's the other thing as well within this flexibility concept. So yes, our what we aim to produce within our students are these, we have our graduate capabilities, then we have our portfolio subjects. We really believe in active learning as much as possible, moving from theory to actually applying what you learned, both in the classroom and out. And yes, it's a continual assessment, right? So you're not put in a position where it's make or break. If you don't excel in this particular assessment, you're done. Not true. There's always that chance to reassess and go back and still do well. And the program is set up with a backward design. Backwards meaning we actually start with the end in mind, right? You're trying to be the successful business person, hopefully entrepreneur, right? We work backwards, right? Looking at what entrepreneurship looks like today and into the future, what does that mean in terms of what we teach and what we offer, right? So we're not the ones pushing out to you, this is what entrepreneurship is, right? We're looking at actually what's working today, what's worked in the past, what does the future hold? And we design and redesign the program along those lines. So yes, our graduate capabilities, right? What do we want you to come out of our program with, an ability to do, right? That we stand behind, saying that yes, if you go through our program, you're going to come out with these capabilities. So professional expertise, right? The ability to be an agile leader, right? So agile meaning flexible, someone that can actually adjust themselves to the situation and not just have one way of doing things. Problem solving, right? No surprise that that's a major part of life and business today, the ability to actually solve problems. Being able to work with other people. I'm looking at some young people here who I know from experience, they maybe tend to dread group assessments and the like from school, but the reality is success entails being very good at working with other people, getting the most out of them, right, and out of yourself. So yes, guys, just so you know, right off the bat, we are looking for you to get good at working with other people. Yeah. So we're very much about your career, right? So we know that you've come here looking to achieve something. And so, it's a major part of the way we structure the program, the way we set up the whole institution is based on your career. You actually, you see the number there, 90% of our students, right, landing roles within their industry of interest, right? So here's how the standard program is set up. Remember, we're flexible, and so there's give and take within this. But this is just to give you an idea of what it is that, in terms of how things are set up. And it's quite standard, isn't it? Like what students typically expect from a bachelor's degree, 3-year program set up in trimesters in our cases, right? With, basically 4 subjects per trimester. And then basically what you see here, all the way to the end of your program. But within that, like I've said, there's a lot of flexibility built into it. So again, this is just the standard format that you absolutely can follow, but there's room to adjust that, right, depending on your situation. So yes, within the first year, at least specific to the Bachelor of Entrepreneurship program, you'll see that, and so what this also points out to you is that you are still getting a Bachelor of Business degree. It's just that the focus area is on entrepreneurship. And so that's why within, even the first year, if you follow the standard program, you see that you still have your business foundational subjects, right? Like a pathway to success, management solutions, those sort of things, right? And you see that they tie back to the outcomes that we want you to have. Remember, problem solving in the life? Well, that's where that management solutions comes in. But right away you see within that, though, that first trimester, we also have entrepreneurship foundations. It's a very important subject. It really it's placed in your first trimester if you choose an entrepreneurship stream on purpose. Because the entrepreneurial life is not for everyone. It has its own pros and cons. I know from my own experience, I didn't even naturally see myself as an entrepreneur, so to speak. I had to kind of evolve into it, just based on the situation that I came out of my own degree with. So we start off really introducing you to the world of entrepreneurship and challenging you to make a decision, what I consider a life decision even. Do I want to identify as an entrepreneur? Do I want to take that approach as I proceed with my career? In my biased opinion, everyone should, but so you see that you still have your business subjects for a foundational business degree, but then integrated into that, you have specifically entrepreneurial subjects like that mindset subject. Then we look at in the next trimester, venture ideation, which is you actually looking to initiate a business concept. It's interesting that actually there's a big difference between ideas and opportunities, right? Even though the title says venture ideation, we're looking for you to finish that subject, not just with an idea for a business, but to actually clarify whether or not you have an opportunity on your hands. If you do, and you're in my subjects, I'm going to be pushing you really hard to really get started on the pursuit of that idea or that opportunity. Yeah. So just a heads up for anyone that makes the commitment. And then yes, we follow through. So this is what our first year looks like. And then, again, we're very industry focused, very career focused, and so you see right away we get into work integrated learning. So it's not just words, it's the way that our program is set up. We're trying to get you out there, trying to get your experience. And so right away you get into that. And then, hopefully we're successful in completing those experiences. And then we get into, from an entrepreneurial perspective, what's called guerrilla marketing, right? It's a funny title, but in the Q&A I'll expand on that because there's marketing and then there's marketing from an entrepreneur's perspective, right? Which we don't have much money, we don't have much in terms of contacts and resources. How do we still get a product out there successfully? That's what we talk about there, right? Again, back to the flexibility aspect of things, right? So you have electives, you can actually pick, so it's one thing to specialize in entrepreneurship, but you probably have areas of interest to you. You might be really into the hospitality realm, right? Events, you might be into finance, sports, right? There's entrepreneurial opportunities in all of these spaces. And so this is where your further electives come. You choose, ideally, something that is a bit more specific to the kind of venture that you're looking to pursue, or kind of industry that you want to work in. So electives, like I was saying, you can really specialize in any of these based on your interests, right? Everything is an industry. That's a newsflash for a lot of people. That when I say to people, everything is an industry, everything is a business for someone, right? And so whatever your passions are, you can find electives that align to that, so you learn more about it. Again, your professional placement, we insist on producing professionals. We insist on producing people that can be respected in the business world, that really have their act together as far as what it means to present themselves well, and so that entails, yes, how do you conduct yourself in the workplace, how do you write professionally, all of these things, they really do matter. Again, because of our industry focus, we have a very broad and wide connection to industry, right? And, at this stage, it's probably starting to sound repetitive, but it's just how seriously we take it. It's not just what you know, it's who you know and who you're connected to. And even we, as academics, as an institution, we recognize that and we embrace it fully. And then we get towards the end of our study, where we're really starting to be confident, we're really getting ourselves ready to really take off. And this is that stage where I hope to see you guys as you are graduating. Right? It's always a great journey to see people at this stage of things and seeing the growth and the transitions that they've made towards the end as they're actually getting out there. So. But once again, you have your higher level electives where you're really starting to specialize in something that you're really keen on. And we finish off with another subject that I've been involved in, a capstone subject. This is where you're really challenged to cap off your study, right? You're really challenged to demonstrate that you are this professional that we believe that we've groomed. And you get out there with initiating projects that are real world in nature to demonstrate them. Additional electives, right? Quite a lot of them. Right? And so we're definitely not short on options in terms of areas, even just to explore. I know when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I did a film course as part of an elective just to see what it was like. And I found out just how hard it actually is. It's not what you see, behind the scenes, it's quite rough. But that's a good thing, right? So there's just so many different things that you can actually try out, see what it's like, and learn from there. So yeah, in terms of how to apply, we have just a great team of people to take care of you in that regard that can really walk you through this whole process. And yeah, you're never left to yourself to guess at anything. You can definitely instruct you on exactly what to do in this regard. Yeah. So here we are, looking at the September intake. No surprise there. And yes, the different programs that we offer alongside with the entrepreneurship program that you might be interested in as well. The list is provided here. Okay, so that was just a very broad and quick overview. We'll follow this up with a Q&A for any more specific questions that we have, just to talk things through. Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, Deji. Thank you. So we will now move on just to make sure you were telling the truth while asking a current student. Tashani's actually a current entrepreneurial student in her second term, but because she's an entrepreneur, she's already said she's completed 8 subjects, even though 4 of them have not been graded yet, but apparently she's going to pass all of them with flying colours. The cool thing about Tashani too is that she was in the same position as you guys last year, and she actually lives on campus as well, so it can give you a really good perspective of what it's like studying at ICMS. So Tashani, take it away.
Hello. Okay, so when I get to the top, ICMS, the International College of Management, Sydney. What is it? Where is it? What does it mean? And how will it benefit you guys? Well, when considering a university or college, you generally think of all these things. To me, ICMS is special. What other college or university focuses 100% on business and management, is located a short walk from Manly Beach or any other beach in Manly. It prides itself on formality and success. It provides you with a world of opportunities as soon as you walk through the door. Oh, and how could I forget you study on the iconic castle on the hill, and who wouldn't want to study where the Great Gatsby was filmed? But let's not forget, a college experience isn't just about what you study, where you study, or how you choose to study. It's also about making connections and meeting a bunch of great people at ICMS. But unlike any other university or college, ICMS gives you a sense of belonging and a place where you can truly feel at home. Having moved from rural New South Wales to Manly, I can definitely say that I do feel at home here. When asked to speak today about my ICMS experience, I was thrilled, obviously. But when I thought about it, I'd only studied for 2 trimesters. I really wouldn't have much to talk about, right? But when brainstorming ideas about my experiences and what's happened over the past 2 trimesters, I thought, well, actually, over the past 26 weeks of living here, I've actually had so many experiences that ICMS has provided me, where I wouldn't get anywhere else. Although moving away from home was hard, so daunting, especially when you're moving from the farm to the city, and you're moving away from all your friends that you've known forever. Although it's scary, you settle in quickly. I remember the first week here, O Week. Let me tell you, O Week is the best week. You meet so many new people, and majority of them are your new friends for the rest of the time here. I remember it was the second day of O Week. I didn't know anyone, I was nervous, but within an hour on the second day, I was on the mechanical bull with the bunch of people I just met, and they're my best friends till today. So you get to bunch in really quick, really together, and that's what's awesome about ICMS. ICMS has provided me with so many opportunities and support over the past 2 trimesters. Firstly, I've met so many people that have had so much experience in the industry, like DG. And they're from all different backgrounds, which has opened my eyes and definitely encouraged me to go wider. I was also fortunate enough to be selected as the Entrepreneurship Brand Ambassador for this trimester. It's definitely an experience that has allowed me to think outside of the box, make new friends, and connect with new people that I generally wouldn't have thought I'd connect with, especially like the students from the city or the online students that we also have. So if you ever get the opportunity, and we've, in ICMS, definitely apply to it, it's great. I also participated in the Entrepreneurship focus group study, which was also awesome because I got to learn about myself and the inner workings of my personality. Why did I choose to study at ICMS? Well, when I was deciding where to study, I wanted to ensure that I was receiving the best education that will benefit me for my career in the future, and also be able to connect with others in the industry, because that's really, really important. But I also wanted small classes and to gain industry experience. Now this is why I chose ICMS, because they provide their students with all of this. You do not fall through the cracks at all. When I applied to ICMS, I almost immediately was paired with a student advisor who guided me throughout the whole time during my application process, scholarships, and even just connected with me to make sure how I was going through the HSC, which was really comforting. Not to mention the care packages and supplies that I was sent to prepare me for my HSC journey and the beginning of my ICMS experience. ICMS had made me feel like I was a valued part of the family, even though I hadn't even been on campus yet, or even enrolled completely. ICMS also provides us with an awesome support system. Val and her team from the student services go above and beyond to ensure that no student falls through the cracks during their time at ICMS. Having a great support system is awesome, especially when you're struggling with assignments or you're stressed. It is crucial that you get back on track during these times. This is another reason why I chose to study ICMS, because no student is left behind. Another factor is why I chose to study here is because it was close to all the things I love. Beach, shops, food outlets, not to mention the city, which is a short ferry ride, like 20 minutes. I wanted a change from the dusty plains, and I certainly got that coming to Manly. Why did I choose entrepreneurship? To be, completely honest, ever since I was young, I always had my little side businesses selling whatnot. There'd be bracelets, resin earrings, or aquatic animals. I've always had a passion for being my own boss, and creating a business that I'm passionate about is crucial for me. I also decided to choose entrepreneurship as I was able to go into the industry as I am able to go into industry training next year and experience firsthand how startups work and the challenges that they face, in hopes that it'll give me a head start when I conduct my future business ventures. I believe that it will be beneficial to put the theory into practical when I go on in my industry experience next year. Next year. Now, let's talk lectures. Yes, you have to wear business attire, but it makes you feel more professional and eager to learn, like if you're actually in the business setting. Although, one of my favourite parts about my timetable is that our classes are over in 2 to 3 days. Then you have the rest of your week to study, do assessments, and go out with friends. The short week timetable really creates a stress-free environment, especially if you have to travel to get to campus. Not having to travel every day really has a positive impact. Where do I see my career going? Well, I'm a very goal-motivated person, so naturally I have a lot of career goals and dreams that I've set myself to achieve. Once I finish my ICMS degree, I see myself starting a business in probably the pet care industry that will focus on sustainable pet care, ideally, which I would like to span across New South Wales and potentially Australia. I also see myself running the office side of my family's established earth moving business with my brother, more running the practical side. I would recommend ICMS to anyone who aspires to pursue a career in business and management. With 2 campuses, students can either study at Manly or the city, or actually online, which all are great. And ICMS allows you to gain an industry experience in your chosen discipline, which gives you a head start into your career that many others wouldn't get, which is so invaluable to all students. ICMS gives you a personalised experience, lecturers know you by name, and there are amazing, unique masterclasses happening all the time. To ICMS, you're a person, not a number. You're more than your ATAR, you're a unique individual that has the potential to flourish in the ICMS environment. ICMS provides you with a unique experience of belonging that you wouldn't get at any other university or college. You are supported every second of the way during your ICMS journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Tashani. So what I thought we'd do now is open it up to any questions. And if no one has any questions, then I'm going to ask them. So I'm not giving you guys any choices. So does anyone have any questions you'd like to ask our expert panel today?
Please ask, guys. We don't want his questions.
I've been writing them down.
They're very
Yes,
tough.
go ahead.
If you're considering, I suppose, this degree versus a standard business degree, why would you choose this over a standard business degree? I think it's probably fine for me.
Sure. So it's because of its focus is really what it is, in that you're not, we make sure you're not losing out on anything. You're still coming out with a Bachelor of Business degree with all of the knowledge and skill sets that come from that. But like Tachani was saying, some of us, we have certain business concepts that we want to pursue, or even in the workplace. A major part of my experience has been taking what's called an entrepreneurial approach to work, whereby, I could be working in the accounting department, but I knew that I want to do things that are a bit different, work on particular projects. How do I initiate those rather than being assigned work all the time? So it's more about that, the ability to actually It's the skill sets that enable you to launch and pursue ventures, whether on your own or within an organization, that might attract you to something like this, which, in my biased opinion, is the best way to go. Like, you know, my work experience, the type of projects and ventures that I've been able to be involved in, it enriches my life a lot more than if I just done the standard 9 to 5 sort of thing.
So with the Bachelor of Business, essentially what it is it's core subjects and then just a group of electives that you choose. With this, it's the core subjects, some set subjects that are brilliant, that are entrepreneurial, and you have electives too. So we don't want to say it too loud because the Bachelor of Business folks are around there, but it's kind of the best of both worlds, I think. And I agree with you. I think there's no doubt that you're not losing out, because on your transcripts, it has a Bachelor of Business. It's just in brackets, it has entrepreneurship. And I think that is a very cool thing to have. And it's certainly an icebreaker when you go into job interviews. And I'm speaking from experience because I have a Bachelor of Business, not from here, but I have just a straight Bachelor of Business. And in hindsight, I wish I had a major, because it just gives you something else. It's kind of like 2 degrees in a way. So I definitely think, and the good thing is, like, you may not know what you want to do now, right? I'm 40 years old, I don't know what I want to do, right? But if you have a Bachelor of Business, it keeps everything open.
That's right.
So we made a decision as an institution not to have too many specialist-only degrees, because it does pigeonhole you into one area. So if you notice, our specialist degrees are hospitality, events, most of the others are majors, business with a major. So definitely not risking anything. I think in itself, you're nearly getting 2 degrees.
Thank you.
All right. Can I ask a little bit about how you think COVID has affected the entrepreneurship industry, and entrepreneurs in general? Because to me, it seems like, in a weird way, it's been an advantage.
Absolutely. Which, yeah, is from my biased perspective, is just amazing, because it affirms a lot of what my view of entrepreneurship is that, and it says so there, we're problem solvers. We're the definition, what's an entrepreneur? How would I describe it? I say an entrepreneur is someone that pursues opportunities without regard for the resources that they currently control. An entrepreneur pursues opportunities with no regard for whether or not they have the money, networks, expertise, whatever else. When the opportunity is there, the entrepreneur is the one that goes, well, wait a minute, okay, there's an opportunity, who has the expertise? Let's connect with them. Who has the resources, right? When we present the problem, and then there's people that have the funds, whether it's government grants, we could do a Kickstarter campaign, whatever we have to do, the entrepreneur makes it happen. So it's no surprise to me, actually, that a situation, a pandemic like COVID, has actually just launched this whole, just bolstered entrepreneurship because of what an entrepreneur is. Right? So, yeah,
for sure. I noticed, and I was overhearing, you're from the country, yeah? So can you give some advice as a country gal, what it's been like? Do us city folk talk differently?
You guys definitely aren't as, like, for example, when...
Oh, don't say anything bad about us.
I know. Like, it was really a big shock because, like, my hometown has, like, maybe 3,000 people, if that. And everyone knows everyone. So you walk down the street, you, like, say, hey, how you doing? You have a chat with everyone. But here, you don't do that because you don't know everyone. Like, you might have a chat to some people, but...
You still can, they just might not say anything to you.
Yeah, exactly. You might just say, hey. No, it's been good. Like, in the start, it was a bit challenging moving. Like, for the first week, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I did. Like, why did I do this? But you settle in really quickly. And, I think living in Manly, you kind of are smaller and more isolated anyway. there is a lot of trees and greenery, and like you got North Head just up the road, so like you kind of still feel like at home in some ways, but yeah.
Yeah, we have put quite an emphasis on regional students, particularly during COVID, because the international borders were shut.
Mm-hmm.
So we love having them on campus. It's amazing because it brings perspective not only to other Australian students or domestic students, but we have now, coming back in the August intake, we have about 400 new international students that are going to start. And then in February next year, we have another 300 international students. Yeah. So they want to meet people from regional areas of Australia. So it's actually really nice that you might be in a room with a study abroad student from the US or from Europe, or a master's student from Kenya or Nigeria, or a bachelor student from Vietnam or Thailand. So we have a lot of options, or a lot of possibilities for you to meet different people. So that's probably, you just would have had the international students returning now, right?
We had them in Try 1, which was nice, but there's a lot more during Try 2. But really, like living on campus, everyone becomes like kind of your family because you're living with them. So like having the mix of international and domestic is really nice, especially now they're coming in a lot more, which is great. The mix is really nice. So like, yeah.
Yeah, this August intake, 47 different countries will be coming here. So it's just nice to bring diversity back to this campus, and having regional Australia, obviously the international students and the local students all together is great. Do we have any other questions at all?
You guys run a 3-semester program rather than a 2-semester. How does that work practically? Does that mean you have to squeeze more in, or you just allowing?
It's set up, the breaks are about similar to universities in terms of the end of the year will end at November, essentially the end of November, and then you come back in kind of mid-February. So actually we ran semesters in the postgraduate program up till last year, and now we've aligned it with trimesters. And the funny thing is, a lot of bigger universities are starting to move to trimesters too. So UNSW has just moved to trimester model. I don't think it's a 12 or 13 week term, right?
That's right. So that's a very significant point. I think within higher education, we're actually finding that to be more suitable in a way, the trimester system, relative to what students are looking to achieve, right? Rather than a full-on, almost half a year to get through a topic, if you're able to do so within that 12, 13 weeks, get a bit of a break, whether for work reasons or whatever else. So yeah, I feel like it's more aligned with the way people learn today anyway, whereby you digest quite a lot of information within a relatively short period of time so that you can potentially apply it, or at least process it, rather than have to have it sit with you for a semester, so to speak.
They're a lot less stressful. Because I know semesters, they go for 17, 18 weeks, and you got your 4 subjects. They just find once you get to your week 12 or 13, you just start to go down. You have your high in the beginning, you have your low, but with the trimester 13 weeks, you peak by your 12, 13 week, so you're still going, you don't get burnt out, or oh my gosh, I don't want to do this assignment, I just don't feel like it, because you're still on that high.
The other just practical reason that we've always done it in the undergraduate space is that Australian students in general want to finish in 3 years, and we include 6 to 8 months of work experience that universities generally don't. So to finish that in 3 years, we have to have a trimester model. So we've had a semester model, and we included the work experience. It would take 4 years. So, and actually it's interesting, you're right, I think the generational shift now is they want it faster anyway. So we have students going, can I accelerate it even faster and graduate in 2 years? Whoa, all right, I guess you can. I don't know how, but we'll work it out. So But look, in reality, and I know you won't mind me saying this, the class time is not crazy. It's what is it, 12 hours a week?
Yeah, 4 3-hour lectures,
Yeah.
and they just fly.
So most students will have that done structure it for 2 days. That doesn't mean you shouldn't study outside of class, but I do think it's changed from, say, 10, 15 years ago when it was more like lecture and tutorial, and they were more like 2 or 3 hours each. So the amount of time in the classes has got a little bit less as well, which makes it more manageable.
What would be the ratio of face-to-face time with independent self?
So the lectures, if you were to call them that, they're scheduled for 3 hours. So if you were coming for an on-campus lecture, that's typically slotted for 3 hours. And then the content and assessments and the like that come with that is where there's an additional, I think it's considered 7 hours that is allotted to that one subject. Yeah. So, what does it?
40-hour week in that.
Yeah, in that sense. It's just how people manage it. Yeah. And I think it's fair to say some students are much better at managing their time than others. So I guess you just got to work out how you can best manage your time. You know, there's people that need to work alongside their study, and, you know, some people seem to want to study between 11 p.m. and 4 in the morning. You know, that's their time. You know, so, but definitely you are given the time to study. But again, lecturers and faculty are not going to knock on your door and say, you're studying, it's up to you.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different in that sense. You're an adult, so yeah.
But we are flexible. You know, I'm passionate about this because I've seen the results, and so all the colleagues that I know of here, every last one of them, I can't name one that is not about that and making things work for you. Tatiana, she mentioned a lady named Val. There's just a whole support structure to make this work for you one way or another. And so, you can just be rest assured that whatever issues come up, and you know, even with the time management concept, we provide support with that. We actually provide guidance on how to manage time better. So, be rest assured that basically, you know, like was said, the team here is here to support you and see you succeed. It helps us, doesn't it, right? It really does help us for you to go out there into the business world and be a representation of what we produce. And so,
I think that was the one, if there's a good thing to come out of COVID, was that we were all forced here to go online.
That's right.
We'd never had an online class before. I think if you ask most people here, we prefer face-to-face because it works a bit better for our style, but we've now learned how to adapt and been more flexible because of it. So, you know, we've had students studying in remote places around the world that graduated through COVID online.
That's right.
Never even set foot in here.
That's right.
So, you know, that's very different to what would have happened pre-COVID, but it's taught us to be a lot more flexible.
So, you know, that's such a significant point, right? It ties back to your initial question, why should someone study this, you know, besides, you know, something specializing in just business generic or finance or whatever else. Someone asked about, you know, the trimester system and the like. And, you know, it was asked before COVID, you know, because my education in the States was under the traditional system. You go to the lecture hall with 100, you know, 150 other students, you know, semester system, all of that. And I really appreciate seeing even higher education evolve with the times and not stay still, because, you know, and this is just another indication of that, right? The response to COVID, right? So, you know, for us, it's actually, you know, forced us to adapt and adjust, something that we want for you as well. You know, when we talk about flexibility and problem solving and things like that, right? We're looking, you know, we can't say that we want you to do that if we're not going to do the same and demonstrate that. So, and it's yet another entrepreneurial trait that ability to actually, not only just adjust, but even forecast what's coming, right? So for those in this room that are going to enroll in the entrepreneurship stream, that's going to be something that you're going to be pushed towards. Be that type of person that's actually thinking ahead, right? We're not even just reacting to things. We're actually, what's coming? What does the future hold? What is my generation looking for that old folks like Deji aren't thinking about yet? We're looking for you to initiate those things. And so, yeah, so, even the whole thing with the move to online, that's just a social thing, right? The whole world, the technology has always been there, hasn't it? Like we've had Zoom and Skype and all these things, but then we just sort of sat on it. And so it's not even just higher education, but any industry you go into right now, they're really looking to tap into virtual technologies and the like. I had a student a couple of weeks ago, he thought he was challenging me, not realizing that I'm all about it. He was like, well, Deji, why do I have to come to class and listen to you? Why don't we go into the metaverse and, learn that way? And, I was like, well, for all I know, that's what it's going to be. So, if you want to make up an avatar for me, and I can do this from my bedroom, why not? So yeah, I'm saying this to say it's really exciting, actually. Even challenges like COVID present opportunities.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we see you all in February next year. And cheers to our guests. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.